I'm warning you. Back off.
I'm going to find whoever did this.
That's close enough.
Want to have your clip featured in the Skyrim Clip of the Week? Simply record the clip on your Xbox and then send it to me via message. My gamertag is iRyeni, that's IRYENI, and then you can message it to me over Xbox and I'll be able to view it. I look forward to seeing the clips that you guys send me. Now moving on to the video. Hey, what's up guys, it's Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of Modded Monday. We're on week number 246 now, guys. I've picked out 5 new mods for you guys to check out, and perhaps add them to your load order if you find them interesting. But like always, before we jump into them, I want to remind you guys that I'm partnered with Gamersups, which in my opinion is the best energy drink on the market. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, be sure to check out the link in the description where you can go to their store page, and you can also use the code RTD for a 10% discount on all your purchases. I also want to say, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any brand new mods each and every single week. Now that all that's out of the way, we can jump into this week's mods, and starting us off we have a very simple mod called the Immersive Sounds Compendium 3.0. Now if you followed my load orders in the past, and especially the one that we just came out with, you know that we did use the Immersive Sounds Compendium 2.0 version. But this one is the new upgraded 3.0, and the mod page reads that first off, you should know that this mod is much more than just merely replacing existing sound files in the game with different ones. Rather, the aim of this mod is to greatly expand the functionality and scope of the audio in Skyrim. The vanilla sound design is pretty dire in the mod author's opinion, and their educated guess suggests that this might have been because it was developed on aging console software, and thus they had to sacrifice the ambition for sound to instead prioritize the resources for other things like better visuals. To remedy this, thousands of new individual sounds have been created for this game, and a great deal of effort has gone into expanding the audio for elements that they consider a part of core gameplay experiences. No longer will you hear the same generic thud when an NPC or creature dies and falls to the ground, and no longer will creatures like wolves, draugr, etc. cycle between a small repetitive pool of 4 or so universal footstep sounds, no matter what surface they traverse. Moving around now always reflects the type of armor you're wearing, and picking up items will now have a much more consistent sound, providing appropriate audio feedback for what item you're looting. A swing from a greatsword being parried by a one-handed axe now reflects the element of both of the weapons clashing together and not just a nondescript generic parry sound. As well as powerful high-level shock spells will now send thundering reflections across vast outdoor distances, while remaining more confined if cast indoors, and many more features here. The goal of this mod is to have this all add up and provide a more varied, dynamic, and reactive audio experience, and ultimately this is also a significant boom to how the entire gameplay feels, as there is simply more appropriate feedback for actions in the world. And they're pretty confident when they say that this is probably the biggest individual audio mod on the Nexus and Bethesda mod page in terms of the scope of what it's doing. And you did hear me correctly earlier, this adds literally thousands of new sounds for a bunch of different stuff in the game, whether they be footsteps, spells, different things that you pick up off of tables, other parry sounds, and sword and fighting and all the battle sounds. Everything is completely changed with this mod, so I'm going to get a little bit of a snippet of some gameplay that I got here, so that you can actually see for yourself some of these new sounds that are featured in the mod.
won't leave here alive.
Now this is just one little snippet of the sounds that are actually featured with this mod. There's literally thousands that you can hear whenever you're exploring Skyrim, battling, and doing whatever you do in Skyrim best. So if you're looking for a mod that's going to completely change the sounds and make them a lot more immersive, realistic, and actually have differences, which my favorite part about this mod is that if you're inside a building and you're doing a bunch of stuff and then you do the same things outside, it actually reflects on whether you're inside or outside, and I think that's very, very awesome, especially for how old this game is and how they're actually able to make this work properly. It's just a very, very impressive mod. So if you're willing to make the upgrade from Immersive Sounds Compendium 2.0 to 3, or maybe you just have never heard of this mod and you're looking to completely expand your sounds in Skyrim, then this is definitely a mod I'd recommend checking out, and that's definitely why it's featured here at our number 5 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Immersive Sounds Compendium 3.0 mod. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have an exterior overhaul to Riften that I really enjoy, and it takes up almost no memory space at all. This is the Laketown Riften Docks expansion mod. And the mod page reads that this mod builds the city of Riften further out onto the lake to give it more of a maritime feel, as Tamriel's main exporter of freshwater fish. And as you could probably tell as I'm kind of flying around here, this is a huge expansion, and it takes up almost no memory space at all, coming in at 38.48 kilobytes. And this just makes it so the Riften fishery isn't just one small building that you really never go into the game. I think I've only been in there maybe a couple times throughout my playthroughs that I've played throughout my game, and, you know, even having mods installed, you know, no one really ever goes to the Riften fishery, and, you know, it's very obvious that no one does because it's just one small building and it's on the outside of Riften, and it's just not really that great of a place to look at from the outside. So this mod comes in and expands the docks, adds new fishing stalls, new NPCs to talk to, new things to buy, and actual more reasons to travel to the Riften fishery. And like it said in the mod page here, it makes it feel like Tamriel's main exporter of freshwater fish. So I know this is a very small mod and a very short showcase as well, but you can pretty much see everything that this mod adds from a big pan around shot from the outside. And I really like it. I think it looks absolutely beautiful, and it makes the Riften fishery actually feel like a bustling fishery now, instead of just one small building with very little behind it. So if you spend a lot of time in Riften, maybe you have a house there, or maybe you're just enjoying the new fishery add-ons that they do with the anniversary edition of Skyrim, then this is a perfect mod to try out, because it's a complete expansion of the Riften docks, and I think it looks absolutely amazing, and that's definitely why this mod's featured here at our number 4 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Laketown Riften Docks expansion mod. Coming in at our number 3 spot, we have a huge expansive mod to the Forests of Skyrim, and this is the Nature of the Wildlands Forests and Trees Improvement mod. And the mod page reads that this is an overhaul of the Forests of Skyrim, and it makes them a lot more diverse and dense, with over 100 new forest meshes. And it keeps a balance between beautiful image and performance as well. Now the mod author states that the vanilla forests in Skyrim look pretty boring, and unfortunately they haven't come across any mod that does what they want, therefore they decided to redo the forests in the game themselves to make them a lot more diverse and beautiful. This modification replaces most of the vanilla trees and also adds many new trees, and at the moment this mod completely reworks Falkreath, Riverwood, and the Riften regions, and vegetation density is increased more than 5 times. And there's been several other meshes added for forest debris, and the tree models have been tested and added very carefully, so this mod also gives very good performance as well. There's also some future plans for this mod where they're going to go in and redo the Winter region and the Morthful region, as well as improve and add new tree meshes too. And as you can see, as I'm flying around Riverwood, Falkreath, and the Rift, you can see there's so many more trees that have been added, as well as different types of trees that you can stumble across as well. So I think this would be very good for maybe a survival playthrough where you're going to spend a lot of your time inside the forest and actually working with the resources that you have in there. Or maybe if you're just looking for a graphical load order where you're going to completely enhance the way that the Skyrim world looks, and maybe you have Skyland and a bunch of other mods on top of that. This mod runs together with a lot of other mods, and I'm actually running this with our 150 mod load order with a couple mods taken out, and it ran very well. I was able to explore all of these without any frame drops or, you know, any performance lag or anything like that. This is a perfect mod to download if you're looking to completely redo all of the flora and trees and just everything whenever it comes to the forest to make them a lot more dense and beautiful, and I absolutely love that. So if you have enough space in your load order, I definitely recommend giving this mod a try, because this is a perfect mod to add if you're a hunter as well as a survivalist. And there's tons of different ways that you can use a mod like this, or maybe you're just trying to make the game look beautiful. This is a perfect mod to do that, and that's definitely why this mod's featured here at our number 3 spot. So I'd strongly recommend downloading the Nature of the Wildlands Forest and Trees Improvement mod. Coming in at our number 2 spot, we have a mod that adds so many new unique NPCs that it would be impossible for me to cover all in one single video here. This is the Trailblazers Sons of Skyrim mod. And the mod page reads that in the spirit of Requiem, no longer will the world feel like it solely revolves around the player. New NPCs, whether they be powerful or feeble, allies or foes, generic or unique, all of these will wander, adventure, and pillage throughout the lands of Skyrim. The Trailblazers mod is an adaptation of the MINPC mod, which stands for More Immersive NPCs, which is another amazing mod that adds a vast number of NPCs to the world of Skyrim without going overboard. They all come with their own factions, leveled lists, and AI packages. This means that they'll roam around, visit cities, enter shops, fight bandits, and so forth. Now this is just an adaptation of that mod that benefits the mod creator's vision of Skyrim, while enabling compatibility with other mods as well. And some of the things that have been changed with this mod is we have a new added crime faction as well as edited behavior towards crime. There's been changed AI behavior as well as faction dispositions, edited stats as well as added perks and skills, changed AI packages, edited and added loot lists, inventories, and outfits, several small fixes and balance changes alongside that as well. It removed all of the free followers in the game to make them not free anymore. This mod also changed the merchant factions and adds some more roleplay aspects into it, as well as added and removed and changed a whole bunch of NPCs in the game. On top of that, you have a ton of new idle animations that you'll see a bunch of the NPCs doing, such as leaning on chairs, boasting during battle, and other types of animations that we've covered before in different types of animation mods. And it went completely insane and made a bunch of world edits too. So inside of a bunch of cities, whether it be Windhelm, I know they just added an update that changed the outskirts of Windhelm and added a new camp outside that you saw in the beginning there. And this camp is actually full of a bunch of unique NPCs. All of them have voices as well, and a lot of them just use the original vanilla voice lines, but they're all structured together perfectly, so it actually sounds like it's an actual NPC that was in the game from the get-go. And aside from that, all kinds of NPCs travel throughout Skyrim, and you can stumble across them in any moment throughout your travels. I know I'm just mainly focusing on inns and taverns to actually meet some of these NPCs, because that's where you can meet them very quickly, and that's where most of them will show up if you're just waiting for them. But you can literally meet these people anywhere, because they'll be traveling throughout the world of Skyrim doing everything that you do, exploring, looting, and doing everything that you would be doing as you're playing Skyrim. These NPC power levels are also static and don't scale alongside the player, so it's very possible you'll run into someone that's way ahead of you and will just wipe the floor with you, so you have to be careful. Some examples though, we have the Forsworn will let their presence be known in the Reach, Maven is now in full control of Riften, and the Stormcloaks and Imperials can attack opposing settlements, as well as various types of enemies, including unique and boss level enemies, will just roam about Skyrim. So I truly feel that this mod completely immerses you in your character and doesn't necessarily make you feel like the center of attention anymore, because that's really what you are in Skyrim. Ever since you're claimed the Dragonborn, everyone just hails before you and wants to tell you their life story. But this mod changes that so that other people that are maybe more powerful than you, or maybe just as powerful, or even the feeble and, weak ones will stumble across you as well. So the possibilities are endless whenever it comes to this mod and adding new NPCs to meet in the game, and that's definitely why this mod's featured here at our number 2 spot. So I'd strongly recommend downloading the Trailblazers Sons of Skyrim mod. Coming in at the number 1 spot this week, we have a huge armor mod pack that retextures pretty much every single armor set and weapon in Skyrim. This is the Dark and Arcane Armors and Weapons mod. And the mod page reads that this is a darker retexture of nearly every armor set in Skyrim in the Dawnguard DLC, and most of the weapons as well. It even covers some CC content too if you have it. And whenever it comes to the mods that are featured within this mod pack, first off we have the Simply Realistic Armor and Weapons, the Project Nordwar UA, as well as his armor sets that are used, such as Draugr, Ebony, Ebony Mail, the Hide, Khajiit Caravan Guard, Nord Plate, Silverhand, Steel Plate, Studded, and Wolf. Then you have the Darker Theme mod, LH's Imperial Arsenal, the Black and Steel Armor, new Vampire Armors, the Rusty Steel Dwarven Dwemer Overhaul, that was a mouthful. You also have the Molten Glass Armor and Weapons, weapons, the black and gold elven armor and weapons, and then the darker set you have the Thieves Guild armor, the Nightingale armor and weapons, the Daedric armor and weapons, the Dragon Scale armor, Dawn Guard armor and weapons, Dark Brotherhood shrouded armor and robes, Falmer armors and weapons, darker staves, and then you actually have some from the Amidian-born tree. We have fur armor, leather, iron and banded, as well as scaled, weathered orcish armor and weapons retexture, the Dragonbone weapons remastered, and then some black iron weapons, some black steel weapons. All of these mods combined into one huge armor and weapon mod that covers all of the armors and weapons in Skyrim, or pretty much all of them. There's very few that this mod doesn't cover here, and these look absolutely amazing. You know, we've covered several of the mods featured inside of this mod pack, but just to see them all into one mod coming in at 618.43 megabytes, this is a huge mod, but it's an all-in-one mod, so you could fit a bunch of different mods alongside it and it won't take up so much space in your list. So if you're maybe playing an evil character and you want to intimidate everyone that you come across, or maybe you just like the theme and like darker colors and weapons for your characters, then I'd strongly recommend downloading this mod and giving it a try for yourself, because these look absolutely amazing and it features so many mods that we've covered in the past that it's almost a no-brainer to download this mod and give it a shot. So that's definitely why this mod's featured here at our #1 spot, so I'd strongly recommend downloading the Dark and Arcane Armors and Weapons mod. So that's pretty much it for this week's episode of the top 5 Skyrim mods of the week. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe if you're new. It really helps me out a lot. And if you have any suggestions for mods you'd like me to cover in future top 5 mod episodes, be sure to let me know in the comment section below, or you can follow me on Twitter. I'll be sure to leave my Twitter in the description, and you guys can follow me on there and leave me suggestions there as well. Special shout out to my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much for everything that you guys have done for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and I will talk to you guys later.